Erector or installer, they will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena March 29th and 30th. Brought to you by BKT Tires, Great Clips, and the original Super Glue.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Attention all Nebraska basketball fans. The NCAA tournament is coming soon, and Nebraska looks to be on its way to their first appearance in 10 years. Better Tree Removal wants to celebrate the occasion and any possible success in the tournament by offering a deal. If you're in need of tree removal on your property, call or text Todd by March 20th. If Nebraska wins the first round game, you'll get 25% off the bid. If they win two, you'll get 50% off. You must contact Todd at 402-780-1377 before March 20th.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off the enrollment fee. The next challenge begins on March 23rd. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
The countdown is on for the biggest tournament in college basketball. The clock is ticking, and a whopping $1 million is waiting for you. Warhorse Festival of Games is giving you a chance to earn the bragging rights of a lifetime. Oh, and one massive jackpot. Will your bracket beat them all? Here's how it works. Rack up bonus bracket entries by hitting the slots and placing sports and racing wagers starting March 1st at Warhorse Casino. Lock in your winning picks online after the teams are announced March 17th. Then activate your brackets in person at Warhorse Casino Lincoln by the 24th. The best brackets will win prizes each week, and a perfect bracket puts $1 million in your pocket. Get all the dates and details at warhorsecasino.com, plus even more ways to score big. Only at Warhorse Casino Lincoln. Minutes from downtown at Highway 77 and West Denton Road. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
When you teach your children how to set and reach goals, you'll do more than just help them succeed in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Motivation and goal setting build confidence and instill a drive that will benefit children their entire lives. It will also help them become more positive thinkers. Working together, parents and teachers are a powerful team for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Tominaga was hot for the Huskers. He had 30 points in the ball game. They are a lock for the tournament. They are in. They are a lock.
Write it down.
Nothing could take away Nebraska.
Where do you have
basketball.
them at?
Well, I'm curious if Bilotology and Jake are on the same page. I'd say 8 to 9 seed right now. I don't think there's a 10.
I say an 8.
Okay.
I say an 8 seed right now.
8 to 9
That's
seed.
right. I see him as an 8.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. It's time for Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back with another edition of Outside the Box. You're on 93.7 The Ticket as we're chatting Lincoln Stars hockey on this beautiful Tuesday, late afternoon, early evening. You know, Rocky, I would say we fell victim to the time change a little bit Saturday night into Sunday with how late we got back and how we got to see the clocks flip back over. But obviously nice to have the beautiful weather right now, isn't it?
Back again. Why do we need to go back again? I mean, what is the point of daylight savings time. And don't tell me that it's for the farmers, because if you do one iota of research, you'll find out that the farmers voted against a time change 100 years ago. So why are we changing time? Let's just leave it the way it is right now, right? I'll deal with a little darkness in the morning, maybe a little darkness at night. What's the difference? It gets dark at 3:30 in the afternoon all winter long. And for what? So that it's dark, it's light by 8 a.m. I mean, it's
not worth it.
It's really not worth it.
It's a bad trade.
And then you lose this hour. My kids, their circadian rhythms all messed up like every other parent in the world. We all love when we fall back and we gain that extra hour, but I don't think it's worth it.
No.
I'm putting a petition together. We'll have everybody at the Icebox on Friday sign it. We need over 4,000 signatures, which means we need over 4,000 people at the game.
Absolutely. Simple enough right there for both games, too. Friday and Saturday.
Of course.
We should say we need 4,000 for both. Stars home on Friday night to take on Chicago at 7, 6 o'clock against the Steel on Saturday. Before that, a fun matchup coming up on Thursday, Rocky, as the Omaha Lancers are hosting the Stars Thursday night. We have won 3 of the 5 matchups so far. Started out with a couple of losses, bounced back, and have won the next 3 against them. Whether it's a weeknight, a weekend night, it's always fun playing the Lancers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's that natural rivalry, and I know the fans dislike the Lancers, and I appreciate that, but I dislike everybody. We've had this conversation.
Yep.
I don't have a bigger distaste or get more satisfaction out of beating Omaha than I do any other team in our conference. So you play each other so many times throughout the course of a season, and now 3 seasons that I've been here that, I don't like anybody else, and I hate to lose. I love to win, but I know the fans love to see us play Omaha, and we travel well when we go there. So I'm sure we'll have a nice fan base. And then I don't know, we play them on a school day game.
That's right.
That wasn't the most intelligent decision by the league to give us that natural rivalry at 11 o'clock in the morning in front of all the kids. But, it is what it is for this year, but I certainly wouldn't want to give one of those Omaha games away for a morning game. So, but that'll be exciting. I'm sure it'll be a good game. And the reality of it is the standings don't matter. Throw them out the window. It's Omaha and Lincoln and the history that's there and everything else. They're going to be fired up for that game. And when you're in the position they're in, which fortunately I've never really been in, but you got to find little motivations for your team, and playing the Stars, whatever we play them 4 more times. I'm sure those 4 are circled on their calendar, and they know they can affect our ability to make the playoffs. And so, we are not taking them lightly, not for a second. It's not a trap game. It's not one that we're going to look past. There's nothing else that matters except for that game against Omaha on Thursday.
You pointed out there in that it's not a position you look forward to being in, but you have, when you're out of playoff contention, as they were knocked out of this past weekend officially, you start to play that spoiler role. That's what gets you up. And with as many matchups with us, you've got to believe that's something they're looking forward to. Got to mention it, though, with Omaha, this is the 2nd straight season they're going to miss the postseason for the first time, doing that since 2016-17, missing the playoffs in back-to-back years. Didn't include 2019 and 2020. No playoffs in 2020, of course, but dangerous team to still play in that sense, as you mentioned it, Rocky. And then we get to see Chicago. Final 2 games against an Eastern Conference opponent this year. I know you were a big proponent for it last year. You were excited when we got these Eastern Conference teams on the schedule, and it's been fun to see some other talent across the USHL. I think that decision has worked out pretty well for the league.
It has, and I'm sure if you're a fan of the Stars and you're a reoccurring visitor to the Icebox, you're looking forward to seeing Chicago, right? You've seen now, Madison come in and Youngstown come in, and it's exciting for Cedar Rapids and Dubuque. And obviously, we didn't have great success against some of those teams because of the struggles we were having. But, we went into Dubuque and we beat them pretty soundly in their building. And we went into Cedar Rapids, beat them pretty soundly in their building. And so, it's exciting to have Chicago come in. They're a good club. Obviously, they've got a lot of rich history in the last 6 or 7, 8 years with a couple Clark Cups, and they're a team that's in a very similar situation that we're in. They struggled the first half of the year. Now they're battling for playoff position. And so there's a lot on the line for those 2 games this weekend.
Look at them. They've been struggling a little bit recently, lost 5 of their last 7 games, but they're just 2 points behind Cedar Rapids for that final playoff spot in the East. The Stars are tied with Des Moines for the last playoff spot in the West. I would think this is going to be a heck of a weekend of hockey between these 2 teams, between Lincoln and Chicago. I think we're both looking at each other going, hey, this is an opportunity to get some more points and try to move up in the standings.
I mean, we have 12 games left. Like it's desperation mode. You need to gather as many points as you can, and you know, there's only certain thing we can control. We can't control the outcome of the Des Moines games or the Tri-City games. Those are Sioux Falls. Like if we're not playing them, we're not worried about them. Right now, we're worried about the opponent that's in front of us. That's the Omaha Lancers. Those are 2 vital points that we have to go out and get.
And then you go from there. Yeah, Chicago after that. Just underway here on Outside the Box. You're on 93.7 The Ticket, chatting Lincoln Stars hockey. We're going to have Jordan McAlpine from the Rink Live coming up in just a little bit. If you're interested in being part of the show, feel free to text in your question, 402-464-5685. And do we have any questions?
We got
right
one
now?
from Chase B here. He says, Joel, how about them Penguins? He says, not just kidding. Already took the day off for the game on Wednesday. Go Stars.
I had a feeling he might give me a dig. That was
I'm disgusted.
To me, their season's over.
Well, their season's long over. But I mean, I have zero faith in Kyle Dubas. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. What has he ever done? He went and bought a bunch of the best players. Congratulations. Did he build a team in Toronto? Did they have any sort of playoff success? So why was he the savior in Pittsburgh? Like they hired a Flyers plant before that, who was basically put in there to destroy the organization. He did a heck of a job of it, Ron Hextall.
I sure did.
Right? And now I looked at their lines this morning,
and
it's beyond sad. And I know that Wilkes-Barre's having a pretty good year. Like let those young guys stay there and play in the playoffs, but you better do something. You better do something to put some guys around Sidney Crosby because he's a generational talent. He's arguably one of the best 5 players that have ever played this game.
And he's still in his prime.
And he is still scoring in bunches, and you just traded away his Robin to Batman. Like, why? Why? I don't care what the circumstance is. You figure it out. You pay him, and you salvage that window being open for a couple more years. You gave away your best young player. For what? Michael Bunting? Michael Bunting?
A roll of the dice is what it felt like. That's what you gave him away for.
He didn't even get high-end draft picks.
Conditional ones.
Yeah, big deal.
Exactly.
Like I think he's the most overrated executive in all of hockey, and that's not a disrespectful shot. It's what have you done?
Yeah.
Just because you ran the Maple Leafs for 5 years, you didn't accomplish anything. You spent buckets of money on Marner and Matthews and Tavares, and yeah, they're all elite players. You can't win in the playoffs because you can't defend. You don't have an elite goalie. I love Joseph Woll, but he's been in and out and injured and whatever, right? Like Joseph Woll was a peewee when I was coaching in St. Louis. His mom was our business director, so I know the family well. Like, but what has Kyle Dubas done to just have the keys to that franchise handed to him? I can't.
They're that
understand
desperate is what it came down to. They got rid of Hextall. They were that desperate is the way I see it.
I think that there could have been some more thought put into it. And, you know, you got baseball people running a hockey franchise now. You know, that doesn't help either. Right. And
coming from a failing organization as well.
Yeah.
That over.
Which, I mean, they were fantastic up there, and things have gone the wrong direction with the Red Sox in the last however many years.
Yeah.
And you know, you're very close to a full rebuild with Pittsburgh, which is sad because I haven't seen one since I was in high school and Kobe Armstrong was the number 1 center, right? And they were just awful. But then you hit bing, 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 couple drafts in a row, Fleury, Malkin, Crosby, and
all of a sudden you're
back. Now you've got Stanley Cups, you know? So there is light at the end of the tunnel for a rebuilding franchise, but not if you're not seeing the forest through the trees.
Every dynasty has to come to an end at some point. I mean, you look what the Chicago Blackhawks are doing. We got to see them in person a few weeks ago, and you know they're building right from the ground up, and they're kind of hoping for the second year in a row. Maybe they'll get that top draft pick again.
I don't think they can get it. I think there's a rule against it. I
thought their odds were the best. Is what I
but I don't think you can have the number 1 pick back-to-back years.
Edmonton did 3 years in a row the one time.
Yeah,
only hit on one of them. Really.
And now Yakupov, was that one of them? But
that
I
was
think
the one.
I have a feeling, and somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I read somewhere that you cannot have it
Really?
back-to-back years now.
Okay.
I'm
not against that.
Obviously, San Jose is up there, right?
Yeah. They're dreadful.
They're dreadful. But where's Macklin Celebrini from?
That's a good point. I mean, but playing for the Chicago Steel before, that too would have been a cool storyline. He can go.
Yeah,
there.
it would. But if they end up with that first pick, somebody's going to burn something to the ground, man.
Oh, yeah. I think there'd be a little bit of a wonder about collusion at that point.
Well,
cold envelope like the Patrick Ewing draft pick.
Oh, yeah.
I'm into that theory. I think that one's for real.
I don't have any doubt about it. I mean, he went to the Knicks, right? Like, hey, let's put him in the most visible market in the country.
Knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
I know you're into some conspiracies. Are there any other sports conspiracy theories you really like? That's the one for me is the big one. It's the Patrick Ewing draft pick by the Knicks. I'm certain that was.
I mean, I think you can look at a lot of those draft lotteries and find some questionable consistencies. And I think I remember an NFL draft from a couple years ago where they cut away and then all of a sudden they came back with who had the number one pick.
Do you think Bedard was maybe a fix? I think a lot of people wondered that, saying, "Oh wow, Chicago just got rid of Taves and Kane. Is this the league saying, no, we still want you to be relevant?"
I could absolutely why wouldn't you want them to be relevant?
Exactly.
Like it's an original 6 team, and they went through. My problem is if it was fixed, after everything that went through with cover up and this and that, and those allegations, to then turn around and hand them. This generational player
that'd be really unfortunate.
But let's be honest, if you're the league, do you want Connor Bedard playing in Chicago or do you want Connor Bedard playing in Anaheim?
Exactly.
It's like
with Crosby.
It's like
that same type of thing. He could have gone to Anaheim.
Yes.
Said he went to Pittsburgh.
I mean, look at Mike Trout. Like Mike Trout, who watches Mike Trout play? They play on the West Coast, right? They're irrelevant. And I saw a GIF on or a meme, whatever those are. I'm old. On social media with a picture of Ohtani in his Dodgers jersey and a picture of Trout, and it said, "Man, if these guys ever got together, you got at least 2 chips." And I just laughed because I'm like,
no playoff berths.
Nothing. No, they had 1. You told me,
but Ohtani wasn't with them. Then.
Oh, that's right. So Trout was in 1, but together they had 0, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable to me, but that's and Leo Carlson's a stud, but there's the high profileness of Carlson versus Bedard or even Fantilli. Like Bedard was on another level than those two guys from a publicity standpoint, and Mac Celebrini is, I mean, he's going number 1. I'm sure he's had the best statistical year from a college perspective of a 17-year-old ever. He fast-tracked. He's only supposed to be a senior in high school. And he fast-tracked, and he's going to play in the NHL as an 18-year-old kid next year.
It's incredible.
And so, who knows? Could I see him going to San Jose? Could they rig it for him to go to San Jose? Sure. Why not? San Jose was in the Cup Finals just a few years ago.
Yeah.
They've always been a pretty good organization that has fallen on really hard times. And, perhaps he's the jumpstart that gets that franchise going again. You want them and even, I mean, Anaheim had their moment with, Solani and that group, right?
They got their cup. Pronger, Niedermeyer there.
Yeah. Gensel or no,
Getzlaff.
Yep. Like they had a crew there and they won, but it's not Chicago.
Yeah. Not an original.
It's not Boston. It's not Montreal. Like, I'm wondering how, when is an elite generational talent going to be dropped in Montreal? Right. I mean, when's the last time they won a cup? When's the last time any team in Canada has won a cup? 94?
I think you're right. I think 94? Montreal 94.
Yeah. So
at some point that's going to come along.
I mean, you're talking about 30 years.
Yeah.
30 years. So at some point, Montreal, I mean, Toronto's been in the mix, but Kyle Dubas couldn't get him over the the hill there. So, I mean, and Ottawa, they're the worst team in the league right now.
Easily.
They should have been really good this year, and they're not.
Absolutely.
So you don't, these Canadian teams are not competing the way that they should. And so, if I'm Gary Bettman, do I want more competitive Canadian teams? Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah. We'll see what the Oilers do in the postseason. I'll believe it when I see it, but they are pretty good this year.
Do they have the goaltending?
That's a good question. I don't mind Skinner.
No.
You don't like him? We'll see.
He's fine.
He's fine.
I think I don't care how good your team is. You need your best player to be your goaltender. This is not football where Trent Dilfer wins a Super Bowl, right? You can win with defense, and timely goal scoring, but when it's all said and done, you need a stud goalie to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
you need a stud goalie to win a Clark Cup. That's just the facts.
Yeah, that's very true. Even if it's just for a couple years, you get him at the right time.
Yes,
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
It's interesting. You brought up Macklin Celebrini. I hope enough people who are listening understand that the type of guys who come to the USHL. He took this league by storm last year.
46 goals as a 16-year-old last year.
Unbelievable season.
Playing in Hockey East, leading his team in scoring, leading the country in goals, I believe, as a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the first pick in the NHL draft this year, and he's going to play in the NHL next year. I don't think they're going to push him back. I think he'll play. Owen Power was the first pick in the draft out of this league, ironically also from Chicago Steel. He did spend another year. Fantilli spent another year as well, didn't he?
Fantilli was picked this past draft.
Okay, so
he did
went
1
right.
year of college. He was at Michigan, right?
Yeah.
So he was in the USHL. I think he did 2 years in the USHL.
He did.
Then he went to Michigan for a year. Then he got picked. Now he's with Columbus.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and he's older, right? Those guys are older. Like Mac is really young.
Oh yeah.
So
it's that true phenom age.
Yeah.
Like the Bedard level.
Mac is over a year younger than Bedard. And so he's going to be in the league at the same age.
It's pretty incredible. But that's the fun thing, I think, if you're a fan. Chicago's having a bit of a down year, but some of the names who've gone through them recently, Fantilli, as you mentioned, a couple of years ago, Celebrini last year. It's the beauty of this league on any given night. And we were talking about that with Fargo last weekend. They've got some talented players. We're excited to see, hey, maybe who those guys is going to pan out. Who do we think is going to pan out from them? And it's so fun to do that with the team we have, too, here in Lincoln. Which guys do we like right now? Which guy needs another year? And that's been my favorite thing with this league is truly seeing these guys develop right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent all over the league. Every night you're playing against a team full of NCAA Division I committed players. You've got a handful of NHL draft picks, a lot of NHL future potential draft picks. I mean, there's no night off. You're going to go play Omaha on Thursday, and they're in last place, and their entire team is Division I committed players. Like they have a good team. Their goalie is number 1 ranked goalie at the birth year right now. So and there's no nights off. It's a fun league to coach in because it's so incredibly competitive.
You talk about those D1 scholarships too. It's one of those things where, what would you say, 95% of guys who probably play in this league end up going to a Division I school, maybe even higher.
Probably higher. There's a handful of guys in the league, like a Juan Copeland that played major junior hockey. That means you're not eligible currently to play college hockey. But you take those guys away. If you finish in this league, you finish with a Division I commitment. Now you might play in the league and you might kind of wash out and end up in the North American League or something like that. And then it's on you to get your commitment.
True.
But if you get a long enough crack in this league and you can play here, you're going to play Division I.
And it's interesting. You brought up the Copeland case. I know things have changed are changing, rumored to be with the CHL.
What
are your thoughts on
unfounded rumors?
What do you think so?
I know so.
Sure. Okay.
I know. I've
just know
got
it's been
it confirmed that there's been zero communication between the CHL, which is the governing body for major junior hockey in Canada, and the NCAA. To me, there's no incentive if you're the NCAA to worry about making those players eligible. They're choosing a path that in their mind gets them to pro hockey faster. It keeps you away from having to go to school. And, I've talked to a lot of guys that they don't really have an interest in college hockey. That's why they go the major junior path. And, Juan's a unique situation because he's an American kid that went up to the Canadian League and he's still young. He went up there as a 16-year-old and played 2 years. So he's only in 05. And so he still has a couple more years of junior eligibility. Now, what I would like to see is somebody like Juan who spends 2 years playing major junior. I think you should be able to regain your college eligibility. And what I mean by that is if you come and play 2 years in a sanctioned USA Hockey League, You should that should give you the eligibility to go back to college.
Do a little bit of penance, right?
Yeah. And you know what? Like Juan, when you go up there, it's appealing because they offer you a college package. But it's only to a CIS school generally.
That's right.
Now there are certain teams that will give you just a package that you can go to a school in the States. But you can't play hockey in the States. You could play hockey at the CIS level, and you get a tiny little stipend. And when I say tiny, I mean like $50, $75 a week. Like, so.
But the NCAA says that they lose that, amateur status. And that's the big thing for people to understand who aren't aware.
The common sense argument is, there's an awful lot of NIL cash floating around right now.
There is. And that's been when I wondered how this is going to affect you.
Well, the thing is, go back to Quinn Ewers, who reclassified to leave high school a year early because he could not collect on his NIL. He goes to Ohio State a year early with no intention on playing at Ohio State, just to collect that $1 million. And then he immediately transfers to Texas. So you can't, as a non student athlete, reap the benefits of the NIL until you're an enrolled student. So if you're being compensated prior to being an enrolled student, then there's your little loophole that the NCAA can kind of jump through and say no. Now, the other thing is the NCAA is the governing body of college athletics in the United States. I don't think they have any concern for major junior hockey in Canada. I don't see why they would.
They shouldn't.
I don't see why they would.
They shouldn't.
And,
I agree.
There's different thought processes and different approaches. And you know what? If they ever did that, well, then the USHL would become major junior hockey.
It would, because it would have to, or it wouldn't exist.
Right. So you would just see a classification change in regards to the leagues that are in USA Hockey, and that could be neat because is the USHL then participating in the Memorial Cup? Are we then going and playing the winners of the Western League and the Quebec League and the Ontario League? And maybe, I don't know. I that's all.
This is all hypothetical. Of course, we should mention that to people.
I'm just purely speculating as to how that would go in that circumstance. But we have a great program in Lincoln. We play in a fantastic league in the USHL. The governing body does a great job with USA Hockey. We have international success at World Juniors and Olympic tournaments and U17s and U18s and Five Nations and Holinka, and I can go on and on and on.
Speaks for itself.
If it's not broke from an international perspective, don't fix it. You can get into the whole other argument of the national team development program, but we don't have enough time for that right now.
Should have had that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but ultimately, I don't see an incentive for anybody to get into that conversation with the CHL. And I'm not sure the CHL even wants to have the conversation. I think there's a couple reporters that decided they needed something to catch somebody's eye and get some clicks. And that's a hot button issue. And so they went after it. And, it was confirmed that those conversations never ever took place.
I think that's fair to say. That was something brought up. I mean, the dog days of the hockey season, we talked about the February, the early March before it really warms up. So not a huge surprise that stuff like that came about, but I figured it was worth talking about still too.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with more in just a moment. It's Outside the Box, chatting the logistics of junior hockey and maybe a little Lincoln Stars as well. We'll be back in just a moment.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now through March 17th, prepare for St. Patrick's Day with great options like corned beef brisket point cuts for $3.99 per pound and 6 packs of Guinness for just $4.88 when you buy at least $5.01 in fresh meat. And for ticket listeners only, get USDA Choice Eye of Round Roast for $3.99 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Shopping Square Center just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
The countdown is on for the biggest tournament in college basketball. The clock is ticking, and a whopping $1 million is waiting for you. Warhorse Festival of Games is giving you a chance to earn the bragging rights of a lifetime. Oh, and one massive jackpot. Will your bracket beat them all? Here's how it works. Rack up bonus bracket entries by hitting the slots and placing sports and racing wagers starting March 1st at Warhorse Casino. Lock in your winning picks online after the teams are announced March 17th. Then activate your brackets in person at Warhorse Casino Lincoln by the 24th. The best brackets will win prizes each week, and a perfect bracket puts $1 million in your pocket. Get all the dates and details at warhorsecasino.com, plus even more ways to score big. Only at Warhorse Casino Lincoln. Minutes from downtown at Highway 77 and West Denton Road. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Switch on the other side of the room on a dark night, how much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures, all things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402-590-5800 or visit them online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off the enrollment fee. The next challenge begins on March 23rd. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Attention all Nebraska basketball fans. The NCAA tournament is coming soon, and Nebraska looks to be on its way to their first appearance in 10 years. Better Tree Removal wants to celebrate the occasion and any possible success in the tournament by offering a deal. If you're in need of tree removal on your property, call or text Todd by March 20th. If Nebraska wins the first round game, you'll get 25% off the bid. If they win two, you'll get 50% off. You must contact Todd at 402-780-1377 before March 20th.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's time for Outside the Box. with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Before we welcome in Jordan McAlpine on the line here in just a moment, just a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget the Stars are home for 2 games this weekend. Friday night against the Chicago Steel at 7:05, and then it's Taylor Swift night on Saturday, a 6:05 p.m. puck drop as Lincoln faces the Steel. And I mentioned it with Coach Russo earlier. It's been a little while since Chicago has come to Lincoln. The last time that they did was October 28th of 2017. So it's been a little while. It's going to be fun to see them, and really looking forward to those couple of games coming up. And, of course, the weekend starts for the Stars just 2 nights from now. On Thursday, they'll be taking on the Omaha Lancers at 7:05 p.m. at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Maybe you got a little extra time Thursday night. Would love to see if you can make the trip up there. Always love when we see a lot of black and blue in the stands up at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Joining us on the line right now is Jordan McAlpine. He is a feature writer at the Rink Live, primarily focusing on the USHL. Jordan, always enjoyed chatting with you. Thanks for spending a little bit of time here tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Sounds like I'm joining a Pittsburgh Penguin fan line based off of the first section with you and Rocky there. But definitely an exciting time of year to talk USHL.
It's always unfortunate. I tend to get chirped throughout this country where I've lived just by being a Pittsburgh fan, but I can take the heat. But and Rocky is also a Penguins fan, so we were able to fend off the Chase Bees of the world. But anyway, excited to have you on the line here, Jordan. Let's talk about the USHL right now. I'd like having you on for this reason, is we can take a look outside of the Stars and look at the rest of the league. We're about a month away from when the postseason begins. I think if you're a fan of this league, you're at that point in the season now that it's warm out. You're really anticipating that playoff hockey, and how could you not? Especially here in Lincoln after the run that the Stars had last year. But it's obviously a different story for the team this year. You're fighting for that last playoff spot, but there's a lot of interesting stories across the league, and I think unfortunately the Stars witnessed that firsthand this past weekend, Jordan, with Fargo, who won all 3 games. I'll ask you this first. Do you think the Fargo Force are better this season than they were last year? They're on paper going to win more games than a year ago, but last year's team gets all the way to the Clark Cup final in addition to winning the Anderson Cup.
It's an interesting question that I've been asked by a couple of people this season. There's multiple ways to look at it. I do think Fargo's roster is built better this year. I look back at last year's team. They had the Knubles of the world at the top. They traded for Mellenbacher. Palachuk on the blue line can keep going up and down that roster. Obviously, Castro and Marinov forming that tandem between the net. That a lot to like and a lot of firepower with that roster. But just the way that they've been playing this year, we know they got Plant, Swanson at the top. You guys got to see that firsthand last weekend. They've got the goalie tandem. I think you could argue Slukinski's been better than either guy that they had in that crease last year for him, and that's been a big plus for him. And at the same time, you look at their lineup, the Jake Fishers, the Lastarzas, Harper Bent, Lee Parks has quietly had a really good year. Just up and down that lineup, a lot of the depth pieces have really done everything and more for Brett Skinner's club. So there's a reason that they're on pace to more than likely break the USHL single season win record at this point. We can talk more about that, but they're 6 away from tying it, 7 away from breaking it with 11 games left here. We know they're in the hunt for another Anderson Cup. They've already clinched the Western Conference, and just dominant is the only word that really comes to mind to describe the season that they've had. So long-winded, but I guess to get back to your initial question, yes, I would say Fargo's team this year in a head-to-head matchup, I'd have to give the advantage.
I'd agree with you in the sense that I think their star power was a little better last year, where the Cole Knubles, the Joe Palachuk's may have been, I think, better stars, at least at the time they were playing for Fargo, than the Stars are this year. And that is no knock on Max Swanson and Sam Plant by any means, or even Brayson Bozer and Leo Gruba, not to knock them at all. I'm just saying I think that, Knuble and Palachuk were a little better at their peak than these guys are right now. But I think that Fargo as a team is superb. I mean, top to bottom, they've got 4 first lines. You've got, 5 of your defensemen, all could be most teams' number 1 defenseman in this league. They're veteran heavy, but they've got the right guys age-wise, where it's that good mix of the veterans and the guys who are a little bit younger. And the guys they brought back from last year have completely stepped up. I mean, when you've got a couple of defensemen, they've got, I think it's at least 4 guys who are at least a plus 30 or more. I mean, that's like video game stuff, Jordan. That's what we did playing the NHL growing up. A plus 30. And Bozer, I think, was over plus 40.
Yeah, and he Bozer leads the league at a plus 42 right now, which is insane to think about. But the other thing that I'd mention with Fargo real quick is we know Gruba has been having the year that he has, especially started hot offensively. You'd have to say he's the front runner for the league's defenseman of the year right now with the year that he's been having. But you look up and down that lineup. I mean, Lee Parks was in the BCHL last year. They drafted well last spring. You look at the trade they made, obviously giving up a lot of futures and draft picks to Youngstown, but you get Brandon Swoboda, who can really solidify down the middle, gives them another right shot center, or gives them a right shot center option heading down the stretch here. That Kerry Eads has kind of pushed all the right buttons, if you will, and really built this lineup and set them up well to head down the stretch here.
They've been a fun team to watch. It's also been fun to watch a couple of teams right after them in the standings. For the bulk of the year, Sioux City has been in second, but Waterloo is kind of right on their heels right now, aren't they? They've been playing well.
Yeah. Oh, ever since the Christmas break, Waterloo's, I'd argue, been one of the, I don't know if I'd say obviously not the top, but in the conversation, one of the top teams in the USHL, really putting it together well for them. You look at their lineup. I know as a guy Star fans have just gotten a chance to see firsthand a few times this year. John Mustard's had an outstanding rookie season for him. Gavin Thornton's been really good. I know maybe not the goal numbers per se, but racking up points. Those two have been playing together. Erdman, Hillman can keep going up and down that lineup. And that's another team that's made a couple sneaky good moves too. Maybe not. And we saw that with the Stars this year, getting Lane Loomer, kind of a similar situation. Waterloo added Dylan Compton to solidify their blue line. They acquired Will Felicio, one of the top young defensemen of this league from Madison early on too, that I actually do like the look of their roster. Their last month, I'd say they've been playing around 500 hockey, if you will. But as you said, they're right there with Sioux City, and kind of quietly, they've had another one of the league's more surprising breakout stories of the year with Calvin Vachon between the pipes. He's been a big part of their success here. So that'll be an interesting race. Obviously, Fargo's got it locked up. I believe Sioux City's 3 points up on Waterloo right now, but they've got 2 or 3 games more played. So Waterloo kind of can control its own destiny, if you will, here. But I know Waterloo's got a couple games against Fargo left down the stretch here, too. So it'll be interesting to follow that matchup.
Yeah, Waterloo is 3 points behind Sioux City right now. And as you mentioned, Sioux City has played 2 more games on the season. Waterloo still has 1 more regulation victory. That's pretty impressive right there. The Stars are going to see a lot of Sioux City down the stretch. 3 of their final 4 games of the season are against the Musketeers. And obviously, that's a dogfight between those two, trying to get that second seed and clinch the first round bye. I know a lot of Stars fans might recall the last couple of years. That was something Lincoln was battling for, just finished just a little bit short of that. But if the season ended today, Lincoln would take on Waterloo in the first round in a best-of-3 series that would all be played at Waterloo. Speaking of the playoff format, as again, we're joined on the line here by Jordan McAlpine from therinklive.com. And Jordan, the playoff format changing a little bit this year. It's changed a lot in the history of the USHL year to year. I've been doing research on some of those early years for the Stars recently, and when they first started, each round was 7 games, same way the NHL does it. Now the USHL announced this season best of 3 first round, best of 5 games for every round after that. Kind of going back to what they had done previously. But last season, we saw in the last few seasons that second round had been a best of 3 game series. I like this because what I told everyone after last season when Lincoln defeated Waterloo in 3 games, I said it was criminal that series was only 3 games because it was that good. That was the embodiment of playoff hockey, and they did it 3 times in 3 days in the same location, somehow in less than 72 hours. And it was like, wow, we really should have had a few games at Lincoln because there was so much emotion, so much back and forth, and so many storylines over those 3 days. I'm really excited to see 5 games now for the second round now as a maximum.
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny. I was going to joke too, as you mentioned there, if the season were to end today, if you're a Star fan, got to have a little good karma, if you will, going back to last spring with that Lincoln Waterloo matchup. Maybe you can strike lightning in a bottle twice and get that out of the way in the first round. But the playoff format this year, consistency and playoff formats haven't been hand in hand in this league over the years. I'm glad to see them go back to the way it is this year. With that second round, if you will, being 5 games, just it never felt like a true playoff series. And at the same time, and in the first round, I get it, especially when you've got 12 or 16 teams making the playoffs in the league, that you got to kind of draw the line in the sand, if you will, and you don't want the playoffs dragging out too bad where you've got 7 or best of 7 series across the board. But at the same time, to get that true playoff series feel, it's going to help you build rivalries in the long run, even more than they already are. And at the same time, just from a logistics standpoint, I mean, it's no secret. You had teams playing 6 playoff games almost in a week stretch last year with travel in between. That I know that ruffled some feathers, if you will, with a lot of people around the USHL. And I know there's a lot of people happy to see the format back the way it is here. And I don't know. We'll see going forward if it's something that sticks. I know Glenn Heffer, the new commissioner, had actually talked to him about this before the start of the season, that he's not quite yet ready to jump to any conclusions, if you will, and kind of let stuff play itself out and see what works and what doesn't. But I would hope at least, like I said, for the second round here, get a best of 5, maybe a best of 7 at some point down the road for the conference championship series. But just to get that true playoff series feel, and also reward the teams that finish where they do in the standings to at least get the crack at one home playoff game.
I'm with you on that. I really enjoy the fact that we have the quick first round, and then you go into the second round, then you give that opportunity for both teams to have a little bit of home ice advantage. We're going to take a quick break, man. When we come back, we'll have much more to come. Jordan McAlpine from the Rink Live joining us on the line. This is Outside the Box as we chat Lincoln Stars hockey on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena March 29th and 30th. Brought to you by BKT Tires, Great Clips, and the original Super Glue.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
When you teach your children how to set and reach goals, you'll do more than just help them succeed in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Motivation and goal setting build confidence and instill a drive that will benefit children their entire lives. It will also help them become more positive thinkers. Working together, parents and teachers are a powerful team for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Hello? Believe it or not, old phones are one of the most common pain points in offices today. Many of these phones are beyond repair because parts aren't available to fix outdated devices. Whether it's a traditional phone system or cloud-based VoIP technology, Hamilton Business Phones can help upgrade your connection. We make it easy to sync your office phone with your cell for seamless call handling, no matter where you work. If your current office phone can't do this, you deserve better. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. It's time for Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Lincoln Stars broadcaster Joel Norman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Winding things down a little bit here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's Outside the Box, chatting Lincoln Stars hockey. Joining me on the line is I'm Joel Norman. We're joined by Jordan McAlpine from the Rink Live once again. And Jordan, we actually had a question for you right before the break. You're a pretty special guest. So, Harrison, what do we have for Jordan?
Yeah, this one comes from Bill Belgium on Facebook. It says, what's your take on Omaha landing an NHL team?
Jordan, I'm really excited for this because you and I know what the situation is here, but I know this has been a very interesting topic for people, whether you're heavy into hockey in the state of Nebraska or not.
No comment. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, I get it. I see the stuff on social media and the fans clamoring for it, and obviously this year, especially UNO. I know the USHL teams in the area drawing well. That youth hockey on top of it too. That there is a lot of hockey interest, and the interest in the sport's really sparked, especially over the last decade here. But I just still deep down don't see how anyone can really look at it realistically and think there's a real shot, especially the geographic and footprint of it, if you will. But number 2, some of the other cities it's going up against the Houston, Kansas City, Salt Lakes of the world, Atlanta on top of it. I just don't see the fit. I also hate to say it to the city I live in, but I wouldn't exactly consider Omaha a destination city in a lot of ways compared to the Seattles, the Nashvilles, the Vegas, the other teams in the last 15, 20 years that have joined the NHL here, that you've got that tie into that one can wish. And I know there's been a plan put together to try to make it happen, but at the end of the day, I just don't see how it works. So for every hockey fan in the state of Nebraska, that I'm sorry I've crashed and burned your dreams, but we'll see what ends up happening there.
I have to stick with USHL hockey and a little bit of college hockey as well. Then I guess the thing.
And even
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was going to say the other thing too that I mean, even here, I don't know how the logistics of it work with Colorado having its AHL franchise in Loveland, whether if Kansas City at some point were to get a team, or if St. Louis moved its AHL franchise or something like that, I would maybe see that just from like I said, from a regional standpoint working and kind of at that level. I know Des Moines already got Minnesota's affiliate, that you kind of have the natural connection there, if you will, but I still don't see I don't see it coming anytime soon.
I'm with you. I think it's a little bit of a fever dream, and the comparison I've kind of made with people is what I mean, I looked into this a lot when I was in college. I did a couple, reports for classes on it. And the biggest thing I found with how certain colleges get a college hockey team for the most part is an alumni decides they want to have hockey there. It's not necessarily the same way with a professional sports team. And, you can't just have one rich business owner come in and say, I want hockey in Omaha. There's a lot more hoops that kind of jump through in that regard.
Yep. No, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one.
It's fun to think about, and it's fun to wonder, hey, where would they put an arena in Omaha if we did so? And hey, how would that affect hockey in the state and take it to another level? But I don't know if we're quite at that level, Jordan. But happy to have your expert opinion on that. Again, it says a lot more coming from a guy with a rink live than it does a guy with the Lincoln Stars saying exactly that. Jordan, real quickly before we got to wrap up, what are some games you're keeping an eye on here this weekend across the USHL?
Yeah, I'll actually get to see Lincoln Thursday night here in Omaha, but around the league as a whole, a couple of real interesting storylines. I know you and Rocky talked about it a little bit. That doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at the standings in the next few weeks here, realize what's at stake. Huge weekend for Lincoln. You look in both the West and Eastern Conference. Chicago, them and Cedar Rapids have been kind of duking it out for that final playoff spot. Lincoln and Des Moines are right there. Sioux Falls is in the conversation, but at least started to separate itself a little bit here and looks to be, I don't know if I'd use the word safe, but getting closer to that territory to have a playoff spot locked up. But for if you're the Lincoln Stars this weekend, 6 massive points on the line. Obviously got to take care of business against a rival, and then another team that's going to have motivation to be gunning for the same thing that you are. So those are right there at the top. I know tomorrow night gets off to an early start. Sioux City and Sioux Falls. Those are always exciting games that keep an eye on. And then the other one that'll be interesting is in the East. Dubuque and Muskegon are going to play this weekend out in Muskegon. Those are two of the teams that have been kind of the heavyweights. They're 1 and 2 in the standings right now. Obviously, both teams got a lot of offense. I know they're 2 of the top 3 teams, scoring-wise teams in the league right now, season as a whole. So real interested to see how they match up. I know heading down the stretch here, Dubuque is leading the way as in the East. That I'll be curious to see how they finish out and heading into the playoffs there, what they look like in a playoff series. And I think going up against another highly skilled team like Muskegon, even though Muskegon plays a little bit heavier of a game, if you will, that it might give Fighting Saint fans a little bit of a taste or exposure, if you will, to what a playoff series could look like there. So
that's a really good one. I forgot about those two playing here. That'll be really interesting to watch heading down the stretch here. Jordan, we really appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us here on the line.
Yep, anytime. Happy to do it.
That was
Good luck
Jordan
to your team this weekend.
That's right. We'll see you in a couple of days here at Omaha. And that's Jordan McAlpine from the Rink Live. You can check out his work on therinklive.com. I'm Joel Norman, and that wraps it up for this week's edition of Outside the Box, chatting Lincoln Stars hockey with you on 93.7 The Ticket.